everybody? This is Morgan J. Ingram here, host of the SDR Chronicles, bringing sales development leaders, practitioners to talk about the sales development space and how you can get better at your role and achieve the results that you want. So today I have Dan Fantasia. He's coming on today to talk about how to empower yourself to build a positively charged sales environment. This is super important because if you don't have a positive environment, you can't get positive results. So without any further ado, I'm going to let Dan introduce himself, and then we're going to dive into the topic of the day.
Hi, Morgan. How are you? Thanks for having me today. My name is Dan Fantasia. I am the CEO of Treeline Incorporated. We are the largest sales recruiting firm in the United States, and we have a very healthy culture, a challenging job, and a challenging industry. And as a result, for us, being empowered to have a happy and fun environment is incredibly important.
Awesome. Well, Dan, let's hop right into it. How can you be more positive as an individual? Let's just start from there.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if you're a big believer in positive mental affirmation, but PMA is a huge thing, and for me and for our organization and for many others, it's something that you have to work on. For us, for our culture at least, it's something that we kind of train and encourage and talk through. And every day I wake up and still folks here in the office that work here today and folks that have worked with me 16 years ago, they always say, today's going to be the best day of my life. And the reason why they say that is because, with all these different groups and different individuals, I always tell them that for me personally, every day I wake up, I jump out of the shower and I say, today is going to be the best day of my life. And I say it out loud and I say it every single day so that you can really start off your day on the right foot. It's easy to wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but you really want to be positively charged and motivated. And so for the team here and for my kids and for my wife and for all of us, it's all about working hard at having a positive mental attitude and then really living your life and having fun with it every day in and out.
And that's really big, Dan. You got to obviously have fun every single day, and you have to be energetic. And you talked about mental affirmations. And I have those. I do those like every single morning to kind of get myself actually fired up. So kind of talk a little bit more about that. Why is that really important for people, especially sales development reps and people in sales?
It's incredibly important because at first, a lot of people think it might be silly, or they don't believe necessarily, and so you have to continue to deliver that message. And in many cases, you have to convince people to try, because until you try, you really never know the power and the effects it will have on you on a daily basis. My wife, when I used to say it to my wife, and she used to say, what are you chanting? I said, I'm not chanting. I mean, this is what you got to do. And so then one day she started doing it. She's in sales as well. And then before you know, she said, what, I really believe in this. And until you try it, until it works for you, it's kind of hard to find that belief system. And so as a result, if you're not saying to yourself out loud and letting your subconscious digest that today's going to be the best day of your life, it could be very challenging to get there.
Right. And do you say those same things every single day, or does it change based on the day? Like, how do you decide what to say that morning?
Yeah, well, it's always that. But when I was an individual contributor, it was always, I'm going to be the number one sales rep in this company. I'm going to be the number one sales rep in this company. I used to say it over and over and over again until finally one day I was. And so that takes a lot of belief. And at first it might sound silly, and people might think it's just a silly, a thing that you're doing. But in actuality, it works. I mean, you do it as well. So you're a believer in the same principles.
It does. It's actually kind of crazy. So if you tell yourself certain things, your mind actually starts believing it and your body kind of follows suit. So like if you tell yourself like, I'm never going to be sick, or like, I'm not going to have negative thoughts, or like, I'm just going to keep going. Like those things actually start following suit, and you actually start like not having those things happen. I think there's a book that I recently just got. It's like Become an Iceman. And it kind of talks about the mental aptitude he had to basically like be in like sub-zero water and it not phase him at all. And like he's actually like he's been sick in the past 5 years, and that's all because of positive mental affirmations that he does.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that. I'm a believer for sure.
Well, awesome. So with the positive mental affirmations, like now that person's fired up. So we talked about charging your sales environment. So if you're fired up, like how do you get other people fired up? Like what's the process for that?
There's a few things. I mean, for me personally, I think stimulating competition is so healthy and so fun. And when I say that, it doesn't have to come from a management perspective. As a matter of fact, I think some of the most constructive competition is amongst teams or amongst people. And so we always encourage, folks to empower themselves to have fun with it. I mean, have fun with it. I mean, day in and day out, no matter what you do, the food you eat, if you eat the same thing every day, you're going to burn out. You're going to get sick of it. It's the same thing with a job. You're here 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So no matter what the job is, no matter how much you love it, on a daily basis, you're doing the same repetitive things. And so what we try to do here is make sure that you're having fun. If you're going to be here and you're going to show up, make sure you're having a great day. Make sure you're having fun with it. And even if the work itself can be burdensome at sometimes, make sure you're making it fun. And so to make it fun, many times, just turn around, talk to the guy or girl next to you and, throw down a challenge.
Right.
Who can make more calls in a day or what have you. And by doing that, instilling that competition, I mean, it just becomes more fun.
Yeah, no, I love it. And what are some competitions that you can throw down to create that positive environment?
Oh, it could be anything. Like, there's a few things. We have casual Fridays. We're a search firm, so we're using suit and tie, but casual Fridays. So right now, our spiff, not this month, but next month, our spiff is going to be around which team drives the most amount of activity. So the team that drives the most amount of activity gets to keep their casual Fridays. But those teams that lose, they have to wear suits and ties for the next month on those casual Fridays, so they get taken away. So it's just little fun things like that. Because you know what? When that gets going, everyone's having fun. They're giving each other hard times, and everyone wants to make sure that they have those casual Fridays. No one wants that taken away. So it can be small little things like that. It could be, it could be cleaning off your car in the wintertime. It could be betting a coffee. It could be money. It could be anything you want. Anything to really to have fun with it. I think that's the key. Having fun. Work hard, but you can work hard and have a ton of fun.
I agree with you. And I think those competitions are super crucial, and it creates that positive environment, right? And so with that, how can these competitions actually turn negative? Like how can you actually avert that? Because, right, the competition could actually create a negative environment.
Yeah, I suppose it could create a negative environment depending on the personalities and the culture that you've created. I mean, hopefully what you have is a very positive, outgoing organization that believes in open dialogue. And so everything that they're doing, it should be like a contagious environment. It should encourage people to play and have fun and to work hard. And so I guess I wouldn't worry about the competition as much as I'd worry about the culture. If the competitions are creating a negative, if it's a negative that comes out of this, then I would say it's probably not the competition. It's probably more so. It's probably deeper. It's probably something to do with the culture. Something else is happening in the organization.
Cool. Awesome. And then let's say that, to keep the positive, like you've been doing your positive affirmations, the competitions are going well, but like you have someone next to you that is negative. How can you get that person to be a little bit more positive? And like, are there any measures to actually make that person positive?
Oh, that's super good. That's a great question. I mean, what we found, or at least what I found, is I try to figure out why. What is it about an individual that is causing them to be negative? Because if you have a positive, contagious culture, right, and that everyone's having fun and they're laughing and they're high-fiving and all of these things, they work together, they're communicative, they understand the mission of the organization and what have you, and you have one person that just can't get there, then there's probably something else going on. First, you have to figure out what's going on in their life personally. Maybe there are some issues or challenges that they're facing. And so to be understanding and help them through that can help them get to that more positive, that positive place. And if they just have a negative personality in general, maybe they just weren't meant for this type of happy, outgoing kind of culture. Maybe it's just not the right fit. But ultimately, I would first sit down and try to figure out if we hired them and they were having a bad day, I'd want to know what's going on and how can we help them, what kind of advice and mentorship we could give them for some of the personal things that are happening in their life outside of the office.
And what does that mentorship look like if there's personal things going outside of the office?
Yeah, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to understand, basically based on their selfish needs and wants, what is it that is making things challenging? Because most of the folks, at least in my experience, as they have distractions in their personal lives, the nice thing about working at a company like Treeline, and we were recognized as the #1 best place to work in Boston last year.
Yeah.
The nice thing about coming here is that this is a place that is open dialogue. Everyone knows where they stand. Everyone knows what's going on. And so as a result, this should be the one place they know they can come and have a consistent day in and out without the distractions of being home. And sometimes, they consider this a safe haven from, all the other distractions that are happening in their lives.
Yeah, no, and I think that's really beneficial because, of course, there are going to be things outside of life that basically get you down and get you like not motivated. And you mentioned like the actual personal development. You mentioned certain things to be positive. Like, what are some recommendations that you have for SDRs and other sales professionals to keep that positive mindset? Like, what are books? What are articles? What are podcasts that you're listening to?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book Fish.
I'm not.
It's an matter of fact, I have it with me here. It's a book called Fish. It's awesome. And it's not a plug for Fish, but it really is. It is a really awesome book, and it's about building healthy cultures and healthy environments. And it's excellent. It really is. It's about Pike's Place in Seattle, Washington, and it's an excellent book. So if you're looking to build cultures, that is a really healthy book to read, and it's a simple read. I don't know if you've heard of the book Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh.
I haven't heard this book.
Oh, that's a great one. You'd love it, man. You should read that. Simple. They're easy books too. It's actually it's more like a comic book, but it's really good. But those are things that we read. Matter of fact, when a person starts here, we review the book Fish and make sure they understand what kind of culture we have and what kind of culture we promote and how we're empowering them to be part of that and to contribute to it, and what ideas they have is important to us, and all those things make a big difference.
100%. And do you recommend that someone read or actually have something positive that they're listening to every single day, or is it just like once a week? Like, what's kind of your go-to on that strategy, that recommendation?
Yeah, no, I would do, whether you're reading a positive quote, the woman that sits across from me every morning, I'll put a positive quote on the cube, and then the next day she will replace it and put her own one on. So we'll go back and forth. But I think little things like that, it really helps you relate, keeps your feet on the ground, and some of those positive sayings really hit home and make you think. So I would do it on a daily basis. And I mean simple. This is so simple, easy, just a book of positive quotes. Open it up every day and read one of them. That's all you need to do. Cool.
And then let's kind of like talk about the rep, right? Like, the rep obviously has great positive quotes. There's a positive culture going on, and there's things that are happening. But how do you get started with these positive things if you are outside of your workplace, there's a negative environment?
That's a great question. That is a really good question. I think first and foremost, you need to assess maybe the situation, but more so yourself. You need to understand who you are first and foremost, and have confidence and conviction around who you are, where you're going, and where you want to be in your life. And that's number one. And then number two, I think you've got to set in place some goals and a strategy to get there. Realizing that the current situation you're in will not last forever, but ultimately, if you follow your goals, you have a positive attitude, and you have direction, then you'll get there. And so the first place you've got to start is, right here, just identifying who you are and who you want to be and where you want to go. And once you understand that, you'll be much more poised for success, and you'll ultimately attain those goals and find success.
Yeah, no, and I love it. And I think that question is so crucial because there's a lot of people whose environments, they're negative, right? But they want to be positive. And I think it's like you have to become that you have to become that person of positivity so that you can find the people that are positive outside your workplace so you can amplify that.
Yeah. I think you bring up a good point. I mean, there are a ton of companies out there that don't have positive environments, right? Especially positive sales environments. But I think the key and the critical piece here is if you're in one of those environments, then you really want, and you like the company, but you don't love the environment, then you need to empower yourself to make change. You need to empower yourself to have fun, because just because the environment is a negative one, it doesn't mean that it needs to stay that way. It's going to stay that way if no one tries to change it. And if the executive team doesn't recognize it or doesn't care about it, then they won't care if you're going to do something about it. So my point being is, empower yourself, make changes, motivate the person next to you, compete with the person next to you, and that becomes contagious. If you're laughing and you two are having fun and you're high-fiving after the end of a week because someone won a coffee over the other person, you'll engage the other individuals on your team. And as that positive momentum continues, you will continue to grow, and it will continue to spread. It will continue to flourish. And all of a sudden now everyone's going to be having fun. So you can walk in the door and you can have a frown on your face and you can be frustrated every day, or you can walk in the door and say, today's going to be the best day of my life. I'm going to light this place up, and you can have fun with it, and you can have your coworkers have fun with it. And then all of a sudden together, all of you will raise up, and now you have this positively charged environment.
That's awesome. And you talked about executive team, you talked about leaders. How can leaders inject a positive culture for their environment?
By leading by example, right? I know it's, I think that's overdone, but we have like I mentioned, we have casual Fridays. Well, at first I was like, do we really want casual Fridays? Everyone on the team said, yeah, we want casual Fridays. So, all right, let's go for casual Fridays. The problem was, on Friday, I was still wearing a suit. So the first one we did, I still wore a suit, right, Morgan? And so the next Friday, I wore a suit. And then the next Friday, I was like, what the heck? This doesn't make any sense. If we're saying that our Fridays are going to be casual and everyone else is casual but me, then what's the real message? It's not really casual Friday. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And so from then on, I said, nope, that's it. We agreed. It's casual Friday. That's what the company decided on. I'm part of the company. I'm going casual. And so I think from a leadership perspective, if you choose and your team decides on what is going to be fun and what it's going to take to be a positively charged environment, then you all have to agree to it, and then you have to commit to it. And once you commit to it, everyone's on board, in agreement, doing the same thing, headed in the same direction.
Awesome. And so what are some other ways, but maybe besides a casual Friday, to invoke that positively charged environment and kind of empower your people?
Yeah, I think with everyone, as you coach your team and you coach, each employee or member of your team, you're not just coaching them professionally, you're coaching them, personally. You're building confidence. You're gaining small wins, big wins too, but small wins. You're giving them guidance and leadership and showing them, how to be not just great people, but to believe in themselves. And so that takes, at least for our company, that takes a lot of time and effort and work. And it's not just about teaching a person about how to be an awesome salesperson. It's about teaching them how to be an awesome person in and out of the office. And so that takes a lot of effort. And for management teams, if they want to build a strong culture, you need to, you really need to help, build, the team with you. Secondly, the easy things are just making sure you have fun, whatever you think's fun. We have a ton of spiffs, weekly spiffs, monthly spiffs. We have the beer fridge and the basketball hoop and we have all kinds of fun things, balls to bounce around, anything that you can do to get up. We have the TV. I mean, just give yourself some time to unwind. And then lastly, we have something called the Zen Room.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a place where you can go, you can meditate, you can take a nap. I mean, you can just get away. You can take a personal phone call. You can do whatever you want. That is a wonderful place just for people to decompress. And so all those little things, whether you're using all of them or none of them, it just all helps to combine together to build a really awesome culture.
That's awesome. And then kind of the last question before we kind of go on the final question is you've provided a lot of great insight on how to really be positive in the sales environment, this type of like real, like serious environment. And it's actually not bringing a positive environment. How can a leader kind of shift that to make it more positive, and how to basically avoid a negative, maybe boring or too just serious environment?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you know, today, you have a lot of, well, you have a lot of similar sales models, but today a lot of them are built around, you know, key performance indicators and metrics. And sometimes if your sole focus is based on metrics and metrics alone, which, don't get me wrong, metrics are important. They're important for our organization. But you don't share any, you know, if you don't understand the selfish and personal needs of your company or team, then it's going to become it can become a pretty negative environment pretty quickly, because it's so one-dimensional, right? And people aren't. They're not just robots. They're not machines. And so if you choose to build an environment like that that's based only on metrics, then you should expect that there's going to be some turnover. And so for executives, I think it's very important for them to, yes, they can focus on metrics, but they also have to think about what is it that's going to make the company, the job, you know, the organization just fun. I mean, it's that simple, fun, 3 letters. What makes it fun for the people that work there? And I'm not saying slack or goof off or be lazy. I'm just saying when you're working hard, it should be fun. You should achieve goals. Those are fun. I mean, working together with a team that you like. When someone else is up, they bring you up, right? If you lose a deal and the person next to you gets a deal, high five them. Everyone should be celebrating. And if everyone's celebrating, you can bring the rest of the team up with you. Even if you're having a bad day, the rest of the company will bring you up and up to that same level of fun and excitement and happiness.
Love it, Dan. I love how you provided that answer. And so going into the final question that I ask every single person that comes on this show, what is the one piece of advice that you give to an SDR as they enter into their new role?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice that I give a person here, at least I'll talk about our organization, is I tell them with our training, you know, have confidence, because you could close the biggest, you know, deal in company history in your first month, your second month, or your third month, what have you. But early on, have belief. Don't think that someone that's been here for 10 years is going to outwork you or outproduce you. You are equally capable. You can do this job, and have confidence that you can do exactly what they're doing, right? Follow our process, but believe that you can do it. Don't feel like you're coming in here as an outsider. Come in here as a teammate. Have opinions, ask questions, use the team, and believe that you can do just as well as anyone else here. We're all on an equal playing field, so believe in your ability and yourself. You got hired for a reason. You're here for a reason. Now go make it happen. Go get it done. We'll support you. We'll make you successful, and you'll make yourself successful.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I appreciate all your time today and the value that you've given the audience. And there's a lot of great insights here. And as I always say, guys, keep dialing, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Morgan. I really appreciate it.